at least.
My God, Lee, you look completely different. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
I'm not
anybody
saying you
joining
look
us
bad
now,
before or good
Lee
before. You look
Harris.
good now.
Lee
Too.
looks
You
like
look
a
good
different
both
person.
Wow.
That Lee's been under the
Yeah.
weather, but who the hell realized?
Wow.
That's pretty good. Good for you, Lee.
Thank you.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff to go through for those of you who are joining us. Wait, I lost you, Randy. Where'd you go? Randy Rocky, where'd you go, Randy Rocky? Here he is. He's there. I'm worried about your Wi-Fi.
I'm here. I'm
right.
here. Yeah.
Lee, where are you coming to us from? Just out of curiosity.
I'm exactly.
No, Lee, not Randy. You're where?
At my office on Hubbard's Lane.
Oh, good for you. All right. All right. We got a lot of stuff. Greg, are you ready? Yeah, you're ready.
Yeah, I'm just tuned into this webinar.
Yeah,
I'll come in.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff. Let's we're gonna do. Let's start with what's going on in the marketplace because that's key. And Lee, we got stuff, and then we'll get back to. Let's start with Randy. We'll go back to Lee, and then I'm just looking for my paperwork. Okay, good. All right, folks. Here we go. Let's get ready to rock and roll for the show, which is this Sunday. Okay, you ready, folks? Here we go.
Ready.
News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you till the top of the hour. And we've got some great guests, a lot of subjects, a lot of questions coming in during our COVID shows that are coming in via email. I'm Bob Sokoler. You can reach me anytime, 376-5483. We've got some interesting news regarding our team. Also here, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They do a great job, 645-0736. Also, the very svelte Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach her on her cell phone, 649-7964. And my son, Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. By the way, I meant to compliment you. Your pictures of one of our listings that went up in Anchorage this past week look phenomenal. It was on the market. We took it over and we did our thing, and it's getting a lot of showing. So good for you, buddy.
I can only tell you this sincerely. Greg is one of the.
You're breaking up. Say again.
And it shows on I'm sorry. I said Greg's one of the best in the industry, and you should be very proud to have him on your team. He does a great job.
Thank you for those kind words, Mr. Rocky.
All right, so let's move on. A couple of quick things that is making news. Yep. The mortgage rates are starting to climb a little bit. As a result, people around the country are making their way to try to find any potential home that they can find and purchase. The spring home buying market actually normally doesn't start until, I would say, May, June, but it's already in full gear. Yep, go ahead. Fielder, jump in. Go ahead, guys.
Yes.
Yep, you're agreeing, Randy, right? Your connection, Randy, is terrible. Just
no,
FYI.
I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. So mortgage rates are continuing to rise. According to the latest information we have, and Randy gets either confirm or deny on this, mortgage refinancings plummeted 43% from a year ago because interest rates have started to go up. Can you confirm that?
Well, they are, but there's still the P.
Well, we're gonna have to crash this and redo it again, guys.
On refinance,
70%
of the people that have a loan.
We're having a terrible connection with you're breaking every other word. We can't use this. Are you on internet or are you on Wi-Fi? Whatever it is, you gotta change it. Randy, you there? You've blonked out completely. All right. We're gonna crash this show. Here he is coming back on again. Okay, let's try it again because we can't use the audio. You're just every other word. Oh, he's still joining us. Best laid plans of mice and men.
He should try a cell phone. That usually works.
Yeah, I think he's attempting to do that. Dial in.
Here's where my problem was. I was in a cloud from last night, and I didn't dial in like an idiot. I did the internet. I'm sorry. So now we're good.
Good. All right. That's very good. That helps quite a bit. Audio much better.
You pick it up from interest rates or start over?
I dial in, and that's why we don't have any trouble anymore. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so we good. I'm just testing it to make sure that the deal is.
Yep. Yeah, we're good. I did the internet, Bob, and again, that's the cloud from last night. So excuse me for doing that.
Too much lobster claw,
huh? Yes, yes, among other things.
Too much butter in your brain.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is there? What's going on here?
I'm here. I just want to make
all
sure
right.
you know
So
that.
let's.
Kenny was just talking about GLS, Bob, by the way.
Oh, good. All right. I'm just putting my phone in airplane mode. All right. Let's start it again. Stand by. Here we go. Here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you till the top of the hour. Got a lot of interesting topics, things you want to hear about. Then we're going to get right to it. With us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach Randy at Swan, and they're great people at 645-0736. Also, a very svelte Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. 649-7964 is Lee's number. My son, Greg, who is our head of marketing and photography and so much more. And you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, anytime on my cell phone. 376-5483 is my direct number. We're continuing to look for homes to list and sell. We've got buyer agents ready to help you. By the way, something of interest to everybody, this just came out this past Wednesday. They did the numbers for 2020, and we are now, besides being ranked number one in the Louisville area, we're now the 25th ranked RE/MAX team in the country. So
congratulations.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Very proud of it. And we continue to move forward. One of the things that has got a lot of buyers antsy are interest rates. And the home buying market, which normally starts in May, maybe April, is already underway here in March. And a lot of that has to deal with the fact that there's low inventory. We were in a little more than 1,000 homes, Greg, this past week on average
around that line,
in the Louisville area. And the bigger problem, quite frankly, is the fact that rates are going up. So, Randy, I know you go ahead and give out your NMLS number, but then where are interest rates as we're speaking on this week?
Right. So they're 2.6362, and interest rates are, in the low threes and high twos. And the reason that's happening is inflation. Inflation is coming into play. So what happens is inflation is rising, and the bond market's saying, hey, we don't have quite the appetite at the rate it was before, so they have to raise them. And it's going to continue. Interest rates are going to continue to move up for about 3 months, and then they're going to settle in. And then we might see a little dip if inflation drops. But if it continues to rise, it might have a settling point, though. Yeah.
So a couple of things that are concerning. The inventory of homes nationwide dropped in February by nearly 49% compared to the same time in 2020. The cost of homes increased up 14% over the year before. Mortgage applications of new home purchases increased 19% in January of 2021. The only thing that seems to be declining to some level, Randy, mortgage refinances have plummeted 43% from a year ago.
Right, but just out of the 11 trillion that's in the market, mortgages still 70% of the people that have a mortgage can take advantage of the low interest rates and actually save money, and they can still refinance as of
that
right
would
now.
make sense too, right? Because that flood came. Why would the flood keep coming, right? Like we understand that
Right.
flood of people were like, oh my goodness, rates, you can't pass this up, and now people may say, maybe not a big deal, but it's still available because for some people it's still a deal. The rates haven't come back that much. That statistic to me just shows that it's not that less people now are saying I don't want to refi, or the people that were in the position to in the beginning of the wave hit it, and that's what you're seeing in the stats.
That's right. You have the 70% of them are procrastinators to a certain extent. Really,
yeah.
I mean,
they're out there.
Which is your point, Greg? Which is your point?
Yes, but I think the bigger point for everybody is that rates are going up. They'll be a little bit higher, and there'll be a new norm that will be adjusted to. But after that, it seems like we'll get back in the frame of things. It's almost important for this to happen because there are just not enough homes on the market.
Yeah, and you want to protect home values. You can't have this balloon. You can't have it keep going up and up. You've got to somehow quell the demand.
That's right.
However it looks.
We're going to come back to another issue in financing in just a minute. FHA loans, what are they, and are they worthwhile for you as a seller to accept? Lee will try to get your input on this, but let's get to something that came up this week, Lee Harris, from a legal standpoint. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Lee was legal counsel for the Real Estate Commission. How many years ago was it? 5 years ago?
I left 10 years ago, but I was there for 12 years. Yep.
Seems like it was only yesterday that you left.
It really does.
I tell you, everybody, this by way of the fact that Lee knows her stuff. And one of the things that is happening around the country that we're seeing problematic, and I want to explain that to everybody, what a love letter is. In fact, Greg, you want to go ahead? Why don't you take it? Explain well, I can do it, but I want to give Greg.
Right? I mean, it's not like I write a great love letter or anything. My wife does.
No. When it comes to buying a home, Greg.
I know. And I'm saying she has very great guidance, and it's not ever, listen. So, in the industry, obviously competition's crazy. So we see it all in an offer letter, and something that you see is a love letter, something that they may be able to connect to in the home. They see family was raised there, or the specific religion. And this is where we get into the question, because of the protection of families, familial status, religion, race, creed, all that kind of good stuff. If you're writing a love letter to some seller saying, I love your home, I see that you have this, we would love to bring our family in here, and it seems harmless because you're just trying to connect. But what happens to the person who doesn't and feels discriminated against? And that is, i.e., where the question of, are love letters ethical? And we know that NAR hasn't taken a firm stance as far as, no, they're absolutely not, but there is an ethical conversation going on for sure.
Yeah, and let's explain that every agent, because there are so few homes, every agent is trying to find a way of swaying their buyer's offer to give them a better chance of getting the home. So one of the things that's been used are love letters or pictures of the family included in an offer, or even in some cases, video of the family. And Lee, what you're telling us and what we've been talking about this past week is that could be problematic in creating bigger problems.
Yes, NAR has come out with it's been an issue for years. People have been doing this. It's obviously because of the market, it's becoming more commonplace. And so it was either going to be they were going to go for it and say, yes, you could do it, or they're going to say, no, you can't. And so in October of 2020, NAR did put out a memorandum stating that buyer's agents should not be doing this, that they feel it's a code of ethics violation. And they're saying that you really shouldn't help your buyer write the letter, and you should not deliver it to the seller. So a buyer's agent should not be involved in that because it could become a fair housing issue. It could be, when you have hey, we have a family, there's a picture of them in front of their Christmas tree, that's religion. obviously if there's a picture of them, you can see what race they
So,
are, what national
Lee,
origin
real
they
quick,
are.
my question on this is, if it is, so who would it fall on? Who would be in trouble for fair housing? Is it the seller for accepting that letter and then i.e. possibly discriminating against another buyer, or is it the agent or the buyer for writing that letter and dropping it off? Where do we get in trouble? Who would get in trouble if we're looking at the finer points?
It is the agents and the seller,
Okay.
because sellers are just as liable under fair housing as agents.
You're
So-
saying the seller's agent or the buyer's agent?
Both, because everyone should know better.
Yeah, the seller themselves can be found in violation of fair housing if they choose a buyer for a reason that is not monetary or, based on the terms and conditions of the contract, but basically based upon, I think this family is really cute, and look, they're obviously Christians because they got a Christmas tree, and so I want them. I don't want this single person over here, or somebody else is being, like Greg said, discriminated against because they can't get in there because of this letter. And so NAR has said, don't do it. It's a code of ethics issue and it's a fair housing issue.
So understand from a seller or buyer standpoint, what we're talking about is that this could go bye-bye, and apparently is going bye-bye, yet we're still seeing these things being passed around. Lee, suggestions for any agents who are listening to this conversation? Should they stop immediately writing love letters?
Yes, and if you're a seller's agent, I think you should refuse to present it, because basically the NAR has ruled that, and you don't want to be in violation of the code of ethics. So I think you just need to explain to your clients, like, this should be a business decision. We shouldn't be writing letters about our family or anything else, showing pictures, anything like that. And for sellers, you need to be making your decisions based upon, the actual offer, and not emotional issues like a letter.
All right, so you know me, I'm gonna jump into the gray. Who flags this? So how would one find out, right? If a letter, so you basically, in my mind,
I can tell you that answer, Lee.
Well, it would be the agent saying you lost out because the letter was
the losing
better.
agent. If they find out that
they're going to
the
go
other
to
agent,
the
they could go to the board, bring up could be a variety of things. That could
right.
be,
No, I get it. Listen, I'm getting it. It's
Yeah.
just when it comes down to the end of it, we are in a dog eat dog market.
No, I get it.
And I'm just asking in the gray, because like you said, that's why I ask, who gets in trouble? If the buyer just goes and drops the letter off by themselves on the front doorstep, or rings the doorbell of the and knocks and tries to talk to the seller themselves and saying, hey, if it comes down to that, forget the letter. Go knock on their door and see if you can bring them an apple pie. Like
But let me back up here. Hold on. Let me interrupt here. What if, Lee, give you this scenario? Let's say the agent tells their buyer, hey, listen, take this love letter or create a letter about why you like it and go drop it off at the seller's home. Does anybody violate that at the love letter ordinance or whatever we're going to call it?
I think that's going above the gray. I think that's going against you're assisting them.
The seller could still be held. The seller could still be in trouble.
Yeah. And the seller needs to understand they are just as responsible under the law as their agent is.
It's honestly, we know our board and most rules and regs are way behind play here, but it's like an EPA pamphlet. It's almost like the listing agents should be required to give the sellers a fair housing document. We discuss it, but to give them a fair housing document that updates, here's where you could be stepping out of line if you decide to do this, have them sign it, release liability for the seller's agent. But I might be asking too much of our board. But then again,
All right, let's move on. We've belabored that one enough. Some reminders: if you'd like to see a replay of this show, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see a rebroadcast of this video show, what we're doing. Also, if you want to see what people are writing about us in the way of reviews, do not hesitate. Go to LouisvilleZillow.com. You can hear what sellers are saying about us. Go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. And again, we're continuing to look for homes. The market is so tight right now. Any home that we get on the market, we're selling within a matter of a couple of days. So for the most part, you can give me a call at 376-5483. Coming up a little later on, by the way, in today's show, how to prepare your house for a winning sale this spring. There's another question that is important about FHA loans, and that is, Lee Harris and Randy Rocky, an FHA loan. What does that do for a buyer And in an FHA loan, there are sellers who don't want to accept those loans. So, Randy, can we start with you? What is an FHA loan? Why does a buyer need it?
Well, FHA loans are Federal Housing Administration loans, and they are generally someone who has a credit score that's less than 680 or less.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they're important is, it helps first-time home buyers and all the above. I just do not. The perception was back in the day, and legitimate, that 10, 15 years ago, I should say, to be specific, is that an FHA loan was tougher to get through in appraisal scenario. If there's some around the windows, if there wasn't paint or something. Well, now an FHA loan and a conventional loan are the same. I mean, they really are. But there's still a perception out there that an FHA loan is tougher for a closing, and it's not.
But let me ask you, let me interrupt though, Randy.
Yeah.
Isn't it true that when an FHA appraisal is done, they're also doing another inspection? And if there is peeling paint, slow drains, or a crack in the window, they're going to write it up even if the buyer doesn't care and it didn't come up in an inspection report or repair request.
Yes, and they will do that on conventional as well now.
Oh, they are?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, very good. So that makes it equalizes both FHA and conventional.
That is
some,
correct,
but not in the mind of some agents. I mean, think about
right.
talk about fair housing violations.
Exactly.
You're looking
right.
at somebody
That's
who's like, I won't take any FHA loans because that person shouldn't be in this house. That's fair housing.
That's interesting. Hopefully those agents are listening to this show. So then let me ask Lee, from a legal standpoint, is it discrimination if a seller says, well, I don't want to even entertain an FHA loan? Should we be counseling or send the seller to an attorney who could counsel them about discrimination?
I don't think it's discriminatory because they're not necessarily basing their decision on a protected class. They're basing it on.
They're not being specific enough, right?
They perceive it to be a financial issue, like I'm going to have to do more repairs, or they're going to be harsher on my inspection. They perceive it as some kind of financial issue if they have another person who's come in with a conventional loan. So at this point, it's going to be what Randy just said. It's going to be educating people that there's really no difference. Who cares what kind of loan they get? They're going to make sure the house is safe and sound and that certain conditions are met. But, if the person qualifies, then I don't see why the seller would necessarily not choose them simply because they're getting an FHA loan.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's education and then there's real world, right? We can educate them that FHA and conventional are supposed to be on an equal playing field, but we know living in the field, it just doesn't seem to be the case 100% of the time. And if we're doing our due diligence to our clients and setting them up for success, that's what we're educating them on, right? So it's
All right. Well, we'll move forward, but I think it's important that we bring the issue up on a regular basis about FHA because everyone needs a shot at a home.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to make sure everybody understands that, at least according to Randy and other mortgage lenders, there isn't that much of a difference between FHA and a conventional loan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, how to prepare your home for a great quick sale this year and more. In the studio, well, coming from their individual offices or homes, because we are doing a COVID show once again as we continue through this. Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach Lee at 649-7964. Also, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach Randy anytime at 645-0736. My son, Greg, who does our marketing, photography, an incredible job, and so much more. And you can reach me because we're continually looking for we are looking for homes to list and sell and to help buyers. You can reach me at 376-5483. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you until the top of the hour. And continuing with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also, Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, 649-7964. My son Greg, who does our photography, marketing, and so much more, and me, Bob Sokoler, at 376-5483. By the way, thank you, Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank fame. I just saw her buy another company a couple of days ago on Shark Tank. She's doing real well, and I'm thrilled to be a friend and her to be my mentor. It's great stuff. All right, so we want to talk about how to make your preparation for a sale of your home the very best this year. And there's a list we're going to give you, and I can always send this to you via email. Send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and put preparing home for sale. I'll send this to you. It's kind of a handout for you. Additionally, if you have a question you want to get on the air, we'll get into a question in a couple of minutes. Some of your questions, send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and in the subject line, put radio question. So preparing for the spring sale, wash all your windows, both inside and out. Give your entry a facelift, either painting the door, cleaning the door, maybe some pots with some plants on either side. Make sure all your exterior lights are working. Power wash outdoor surfaces, but be careful not to remove paint when you're power washing with too strong of a spray. Paint or replace the street numbers on your house. Not always attended to, but it's important not only for the look of your home, but in case there's a fire, or police need to get there, you need to make sure they know what number your home is. Give every room a purpose. I was in one a couple of days ago that it didn't have a defined purpose. They had sold, in preparation for sale, they had sold the dining room table. And what I suggested was, in preparation for sale, get a card table, put a tablecloth on it, and set it for a dinner and make it look nice, to give it a purpose. That what was a dining room will become a dining room again. Let the light in. That means getting rid of old, outdated curtains, even just put blinds or the little cloth types of drapes to give it a fresh look. Declutter your house. And I always say that declutter. If you think it's good, remove another third. And then clean everything. Make sure it's clean and fix anything that's broken, because when times comes to sell, buyer's going to want you to fix it anyway. Why not get ahead of it? So do that, and you could have hopefully a very quick sale and for a lot of money. Oh, and then there is one more thing. Call Bob Sokoler at the Sokoler team to get your home listed and sold. And yeah, you can reach me, shameless plug, 376-5483. This next question comes in as an email. Lee, I checked with you. Let me read the question. This is something that I think listeners may have interest in. The listener, Jim, has a carbon monoxide detector that was installed and hardwired by the alarm company about 6 years ago in the laundry room next to the furnace and hot water heater. Last week, the alarm alerted Jim that the detector was bad. He called the alarm company. They said they would mail out a new one, and it would be here or there in about a week. So he didn't want to be without one until the new one arrived. So he went out and to the store and bought a new battery operated one. And when he was reading the directions, it said that he needed to have one in all the bedrooms in the house, that there could possibly be a fire. And he always thought that you needed just one in the house near the furnace and maybe hot water heater. So the question is, how many smoke alarms should there be in a home, and where should they be placed? And Lee Harris and I go back and forth on this. Lee, your suggestions and information.
I'm just going by what the the fire code is essentially, and I think it's way more than most people do, because what the fire code essentially says is, and what all those smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detector instructions say is, follow the code, and that's the manufacturer's guidelines, because obviously one thing is they're trying to sell more detectors, so the more you have, the more they sell, right? Well, what the fire code says is you're supposed to have one in every bedroom, every floor of your house, and any outside area around bedrooms. So that includes the basement, the first floor, second floor, whatever you have. Most people don't have that. Most people have one outside their bedrooms, probably in their kitchen. You're supposed to have one on every floor. So if you don't have one in your basement, you should put one down there. And you should put one, if you have 2 floors, on the second floor, near any bedrooms. But the guidelines are way more than that. Their guidelines are what I said. You're supposed to, you could have 8 of them, basically, if you had a lot of bedrooms and several levels or whatever. So, it's hard to say, because they say go by the manufacturer's guidelines, but, a lot of times,
But Lee, in Jefferson County, there is an ordinance that requires that sellers, between the time they get a contract and the time they sell, need to
Yes.
have a smoke detector in the areas of bedrooms. So it could be a common hallway. Am I correct on that so far?
Yes, and it has to be a hardwired or a 10-year lithium battery.
Non-removable lithium battery, to be
Right.
exact, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And yet the other counties surrounding Jefferson County do not require that. The problem is, if it's important enough for Jefferson County to require it, why doesn't Oldham, Henry, Bullitt, why don't they require it? Or is Jefferson County overstepping it? I'm asking that rhetorically because I realize it's a county by county decision. But equally important is the fact that the information that we refer to as agents is actually written by the smoke detector company, which has a vested interest in
Yes.
selling those smoke detectors.
Right.
Can't we hire or ask the fire department in the municipalities to actually write up what should be done and not rely on a company that wants to potentially make more money?
Yeah, I mean, they basically what they say is go by the manufacturer's guidelines, and it's very, that's kind of a conflict of interest to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I would trust and feel good with any one of our firefighters coming forward and saying, and going on the record and saying, this is where we think you need to have smoke detectors. These men and women put their lives on the line, and if anybody would know, they should know. I have a little problem with the smoke detector company.
Who wants the liability is the question, right?
Yeah, I know.
Does the fire department, does the manufacturer,
Yeah, I know. All right. Just a point, and just hopefully that's some information for all of you as sellers and buyers, what to look for in terms of smoke detectors. Randy, we got time for one question with regards to a mortgage problem. And Arnold says he has a problem with the company he chose when he started buying his home. Originally, Arnold says he was qualified to purchase the home. Now he's given them documents, and Arnold says that they have let him know in writing he's no longer qualified. He's already out money for an inspection. So does Arnold just go to another mortgage company? And Lee, does Arnold have any recourse against the original mortgage company that wrote up what appears to be a fake pre-approval letter or not correct pre-approval letter? Let's start with you, Randy.
Yes, that's what I would do, is go to another mortgage company, and I'll let Lee do the legal side.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of those pre-approval letters, there's a lot of that legalese that they've probably been told to say, which is, well, this is conditional on this, and this.
Yeah,
so they,
right, yeah.
they're not necessarily saying 100%. So I think it's going to depend upon, I think it's going to depend upon, was there something in his credit that they didn't know about, or, did his situation change? That obviously can happen between the time of a pre-approval and a closing. I've never heard of any buyer being able to, or bringing a claim against the lender for the pre-approval letter not holding up. I've never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Could it potentially happen if they legitimately just let him down the primrose path and he really had no chance ever at this loan? That could happen. Yes.
You realize this is a seller's nightmare, that a buyer comes with a pre-approval letter, and yet when they do the due diligence, they say, no, this buyer is not
Bob,
approved.
But you make such a great point here. This is why we talk about in this environment, to protect everybody, have these good relationships, have a good agent who and I'm not tooting just our home, I'm tooting all good agents, okay? Because there's a lot of agents in this market. Not all of them are good, but the good ones will have the relationships with the lenders that can pick up the phone. We're seeing multiple times sellers will get on the phone with the lenders that are on the offers coming in to say, hey, how's this hold weight? Does this pre-approval look good? So recommend the listing agents that are starting to do that. If you have a good relationship with your lender, they can reach out beforehand, because if there's competition, you want to be first. We're seeing that as a way to win. So,
well, we have, speaking of, and we're out of time, we have a very good relationship with Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial, who, by the way, this past week had a great little get together at his house. He ordered crawfish in. And all of them arrived. You had them shipped in, and they were all arrived dead. But
yes, the day before they flew in the day before, so it isn't like they were sitting there for a week.
Right. My point though is Randy went out and in a matter of an hour or two was able to get enough seafood to work magic, and the party went on. Now, if he could do that with a
All that
seafood
matters, he's
party,
speaking Bob's love language.
no,
the
listen,
seafood.
wait, let me make this
He
point.
knew.
If he could do that with a last-minute seafood problem, imagine what Swan can do in
It
getting
does translate.
loan closed.
Bob's right. It
Yeah.
translates well. He does.
Thank you, Bob.
Randy
Thank you,
is a
Greg.
take charge, get it done, and that's what you want when it comes to choosing a loan officer and a mortgage company like Swan. And you can reach Randy,
you.
by the way, because he has plenty of shrimp left over, because there was a lot of shrimp that he got. 773-4834, 773-4834.
No, 6450736.
Oh,
645.
645. I'm sorry. 645-0736. That's 645-0736. Also, Lee Harris, who does a great job, and the folks over at Limestone are spectacular. And by the way, the cookies continue to have people raving about closing at Limestone Title, and their new offices, by the way, phenomenal. 649-7964 is Lee's number. Again, 649-7964. My thanks to Lee, to Randy, my son Greg, who does our marketing and photography and so much more. And you can reach me anytime, 376-5483. Call me day or night, even after the show, 376-5483. Thanks, everybody. See you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS. All right.
Bob, so at the end of that, Zillow, you take this off recording real quick.
All right, hang on. I'll just stop recording.
Just because I don't want to leak any.